I've literally waited 20 years to see this on stage, and I can't believe that I finally saw it on stage. Hi, I'm Grace Kelly, and I'm a massive theater nerd. I love talking about theater, seeing theater, devising theater, creating theater, performing in theater, educating in theater, analyzing theater, anything that has to do with theater. I love it. And on Saturday, I got to see Hercules, the Mythical musical adventure at the Papermill Playhouse. So let's talk about it. So if you've never seen Hercules, Hercules is a 1997 Walt Disney animated film that is very loosely based on the Greek mythology. It stars Tate Donovan, Susan Egan, James Woods, Danny DeVito, and a bunch of other incredible actors. And the score and music is written by Alan Menken, who pretty much wrote every single Disney score that probably pops into your head. He's pretty much the Disney Renaissance man. He wrote for Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Pocahontas, Mulan, Tangled, as well as having a wonderful career on Broadway. So the man's done it all, and he's actually a Disney legend. And I'm not saying like, oh my god, he's a legend. No, like his title, he was given the honor of Disney Legend in 2002. But I really think one of the reasons Hercules works so well is because of the music by Menken. He was so influenced by gospel music, and the muses are kind of this gospel Greek chorus, and it also combines contemporary musical theater songs to create a really groundbreaking sound for Disney films at the time. If you look at other films that he created around the time, like Beauty and the Beast, it has a much more traditional musical theater, fairy tale, what you think of a Disney sound feel, and Hercules kind of strayed from that, which I think was so awesome. It was a pretty moderate success, a little bit of mixed reviews because of the inaccuracy, but it didn't really have that much of a presence in the parks aside from its immediate release. I still have never met a Disney character from Hercules, so maybe one day. Hercules got its first time on stage on the Disney Cruise Lines in the early 2000s. So the Disney Wish and the Disney Magic both presented Hercules the Muse-ical as part of their onstage, main stage rotations of musicals. So Disney Cruise Line does some musicals that are based on movies. They do some musicals that are like compilations and like they take you through a bunch of different stories. They're wonderful and they're Broadway quality. So Hercules the Muse-ical was on the Disney Cruise Line in the early 2000s, and it was pretty much a summary of the plot, mainly focusing on the music, but also had some gags in it. Like Hades did stand up, Pain and Panic made a lot of pop culture references, and one of the muses was sick, and always a guy filled in for one of the muses, which it wasn't like one of the actresses playing the muse was sick, they're just simply, that was written into the script. But I'd say it did pretty well on the Disney Cruise Line. It ran for about 4 to 5 years. When I was actually really little, I went on a Disney Cruise Line to see, we didn't go on the cruise to see Hercules, but we did pick which ship we were going on based on the shows, and knowing that Hercules is my favorite musical and movie of all time since I was literally, as long as I can remember, we picked the Disney Wish or the Disney Magic, because I don't remember which one, to go on to see Hercules the Muse-ical. And then maybe 2 weeks or a week before we got on, I'm not really sure, again, it was like 15 years ago, they changed it to Toy Story the Musical. So that was absolutely devastating as a kid. So up until this week, I've never seen it live on stage. I've seen the YouTube video a million times, and it is out there if anyone wants to see Hercules the Muse-ical on the Disney Cruise Line. So roughly 10 years after the Disney Cruise Line production ended, they announced that they were going to turn Hercules into a stage musical at the Delacorte Theater in the Public Theater. So the Public Theater does a New Works Festival every summer. It has a lottery system for the tickets, so you cannot buy tickets in advance. You have to stand in line or you have to enter the email lottery every single day. And I was 17 at the time, and I lost the lottery 73 times, and I say that and that sounds insane, but I lost the lottery 73 times. Every single person in my life that was important to me at the time, family, friends, etc., entered the lottery on my behalf every day. Every single email I had, my school email, my personal email, every email I had was being used to enter the lottery. And my dad did stand in line for 4 hours one day, and they gave tickets to a certain amount of people in the line, and he was the first person in the line that didn't get the tickets. So everyone in my life knows how important Hercules is to me. But that world premiere at the Delacorte was insane. They had really great reviews. It starred Jelani Aladdin as Hercules, Krista Rodriguez as Meg, James Monroe Iglehart as Phil, and Roger Bart as Hades, which I think is the coolest fact ever, because Roger Bart is the voice of young Hercules in the movie and sings the song Go the Distance in the movie. So to have him kind of full circle playing the villain in the story, I just thought was the most awesome thing I've ever seen in my life. But again, I've never seen it, but I heard it was great. I've seen like the montage that's on YouTube, and like the 1-minute clip of Go the Distance, and I've cried my eyes out, but I've actually never seen it. So I have no reference for the changes that were made from the Papermill to now. I mean, from then to the Papermill. But after that, there were really no plans in place. Alan Menken did say on a Zoom interview right at the beginning of the pandemic that they were working on bringing Hercules to Broadway, and then it was later reported that it was going to be exclusively for licensing. So right now, that's kind of all up in the air. And there's no confirmed details about the next steps for Hercules kind of after what's going on right now. But now that we're getting into it, let's talk about the Papermill. Hercules at the Papermill Playhouse was announced earlier this year, and I got tickets the day that they came out because I was not missing this for the 3rd time in my life. It's so important to me. It's such a special film to me. Wow, great. But it's my favorite movie, so I was not waiting, so I bought tickets right away, and I got to go with both my parents this past weekend, which was just a really wonderful experience because they know how much it means to me. So to kind of be with people that really understand how much it means to me was just the best thing ever. So it premiered at the Papermill this February and will close on March 19th. Bradley Gibson is Herc. Isabel McCalla is Meg. James Monroe Iglehart is the only person reprising his principal role from the Delacorte, and he is still playing Phil. I thought the puppetry was breathtaking and really innovative. The technology that they used was extremely wonderful. I loved the character developments of Hera and Zeus specifically, because Hera is kind of like a one-liner in the movie, and now she's as important as Zeus, which I think is awesome. I love Phil's new backstory that they kind of reworked, because if you don't know, Phil is a goat in the movie. And they did not keep him as a goat in the musical. They actually reworked it. And I really thought that it worked very, very, very well. Pain and Panic are as funny as they were in the movie, if not funnier. And Meg is still the iconic woman that she is, and it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing to watch, seeing something so important to you come to life on stage. I really had such a wonderful time. I definitely think that it's going to go through a few more rounds of maybe revisions or alterations before it does hit, if it ever does hit a major Broadway stage. But at the same time, I was so happy I went. I have no complaints. It's hard to look at theater from a critical perspective when it is something that you have such sentimental value to. There were definitely some things that I wasn't super fond of or wasn't super clear about that I think will kind of get ironed out as the show progresses. But the talent in that cast was absolutely unmatched. Alan Menken did a great job of revisiting this material 25 years later and adding songs in that still feel part of the original rhythm, the original theme, the original tone. And that was what impressed me probably the most. I loved the choreography was very much rooted in modern and African dance. And I thought the way that they kind of used that choreography as symbolism of grounding, as opposed to the movements of the gods, for example, was a really nice juxtaposition. The cast was absolutely lovely. They were so talented. They have wonderful chemistry on stage, and the muses will always be my favorite part of the movie and the musical, but they just blew my socks off. From the minute the show started, I was in tears. And from the minute that the first song I recognized, from the movie was premiered, which was very quickly, very early on in the show, I was just an absolute wreck. To see something that I've waited for my entire life actually come to life on stage in front of me was just like the most surreal experience ever. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to see it finally, because I've been waiting so long. What other things do I have to say about it? We're still in development right now. I'm not gonna nitpick and go through all the things that I don't really like. I think, they really developed, sorry for spoilers, but they really developed the relationship between Hercules and his Earth parents, and the father is actually gone. But it really worked so well, and I love the relationship that they created between Hercules and his Earth mother, and how it really evolved throughout the story, and that she did come back in the end. It wasn't just like, oh, where did she go? I'm gonna forget about my parents and only focus on the gods. I really appreciated that. I also really, really, really appreciated the technology and the staging of like the gods and the lost souls in the underworld. I was just so impressed, and I was like a little kid. I would like point, I was like pointing, I was like, oh my god, look! Like, it was just such a surreal experience to be in that audience and to see something I've wanted for so long come to life. And like really, like, the themes of Hercules I feel like are so relatable, you know, not feeling like you belong and trying to find a place where you feel like you're valued, and finding what you're good at, and finding people that will support you along that way and along that journey where you might fail and you might make mistakes. Like, that is such a beautiful story and such a beautiful theme to bring to theater. It's a very common theme in theater. If you think of Beauty and the Beast, Shrek, there's so many shows that are about outcasts. Hunchback, God help the outcasts, but it was just done so beautifully, and I'm so grateful I got to see it at the Papermill. Moving forward, I can't wait to see the changes and the evolutions. I think there's a lot that can grow, and I think that there's a lot that is perfect right now. I have just not enough things to say. I'm just so happy I got to see it, and if you do not get the chance to see it, don't worry, because there's more coming up and more in future for Hercules.